resistance. Okay, in your exams, if they want to make it a tricky question, then they would ask something like this. If the length is doubled and cross-sectional area is tripled, for example, length is doubled and cross-sectional area is tripled, what will happen to resistivity of the material? They would ask something like this. Once again, I'm not asking about resistance, guys. If length is doubled and cross-sectional area is tripled, what would happen to the resistivity, rho? Anyone with answers? Guys, anyone with answers? I think we still have the person here. I will be locking it, but let's discuss this and then we can lock the screen. My question, I hope it's clear to you. Length could become 100 times, area could become 1,000 times or 1 by 100 times. Resistivity is the property of a material. If you're still working with copper, it does not change. As long as the material is not changed, if length and area are changed, even then resistivity will remain the same. Resistivity does not depend on anything except the material. You don't change the material, resistivity will remain the same. But resistance will change, guys. If I change the length by 100 times and area by 1,000 times, then resistance will definitely change, because resistance depends on material, length and area. Resistivity does not depend on any of these factors. It only depends on the material. Okay, so please remember all these. If you're getting a tough paper in your exams, that is where they would be asking. They would be asking such tricky questions. So you need to understand the difference between resistivity and resistance. Okay, resistivity is purely material dependent. Resistance depends on all the three factors. Okay, so let's check back on your videos and we'll log the screen right now. Please switch on your videos, guys. Anyone who still haven't, I'll be, if you don't have a switch, I mean, if you haven't switched on your video, I will have to send you out of this meeting, guys. So quickly do it. And after that, I'll be locking you. I'm locking this entire meeting. Quick. I don't have to speak out your names. Quickly do it. Come on. It will hardly take like few seconds, right? And we'll not have our intruder here. Amrit, Ansika, not Hansika, Ansika, someone else. Himesh. Samrat. Quick. Let's not waste time, guys.
Sir, if anybody is the first switch off, then you remove it, sir. No problem. Once we remove, then they will know that.
Okay, right.
The value.
So I still have Amrit, Ansika, and Samrat not switched on. So I'm removing you guys. The last chance. All right.
Rahul, you are in dark.
Right. So yeah, I only have Hamsika now. Yeah, got it. So I'm just locking the screen right now.
Yeah, sir. Lock it.
Okay, done. So let's move on with our discussion of series and parallel circuits today. If you remember, I gave you an analogy. I gave you two analogies yesterday. One was with a tank of water and another one with a mountain. So I gave you that mountain. I told you that I came up with the idea because I am also like director of one of the research wings. It's called Pregna Research Wing. That particular location, we do a lot of research on educational material. And there I came up with this thing. I mean, one of my bosses, if you could say, he actually asked me to find a better way of explaining series and parallel. So then I had to think about it, and this is what I came up. And I'm not saying that it's perfect, by the way. So I want you to judge it, analyze it, and you can come up maybe with a better way. Just let me know if you could do that. Okay, but anyway, now I'm going to talk to you about series and parallel circuits. Listen carefully. And experiments are, again, as usual, very simple. Now, I'll carry this particular case. This is for the series circuit. So this is the series circuit, and we'll be using this particular series circuit right now. All right, so please check this out. We will be building this particular circuit, and I want to analyze this based on our analogy. So what I'm doing is I'm creating again our hypothetical mountain. And instead of having this straight line, what I want to do is I want to make a small modification. So I want to do something like this. So its steeps are a little different. Okay. So what you're essentially seeing is the same mountain, but the steeps are a little different. Now, what I'm trying to do over here is let's define these things. I want to define this particular portion. That's because of the one of the resistors. We can call those three resistors as R1, R2, and R3. You can see this. This is R1, this is R2, and R3. So because of R1, this particular energy difference from the ground till this particular point, that height point, let's call it V1. So that is V1. And then at this location, I mean from this particular location to that particular location, that height difference is giving us a potential difference of V2. And at the top, what you're seeing is V3. I told you yesterday, we need to get an analogy that will help us in understanding all the relations of a series circuit. Now, if you check this out, we can also do something else. From the top to the bottom, the total height is giving us a potential difference of, let's say, V. Okay. So V is the total potential difference, and it is actually divided into three parts. One is V1, V2, and V3. And clearly you can see the total height is addition of all these three. Or in other way, what we can actually conclude from this entire thing is V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. Okay, so that's for the series circuit. So you might be wondering, why is the total energy divided for each resistor? Why is each resistor taking some energy? Because of this analogy. You can use this analogy to understand it. So now let's think about electric current. And if you remember our discussion yesterday, we imagined electric current to be the flow of water from the top of the mountain. Now let's imagine we have all this water here. So we have lots of water here, and water flows downhill in this fashion, first here, then here, and then here. Okay. So now my question to you is it the same water at every location, or is it different water? I'm having some water here. Whatever water we have, that entire water flowed through this first ridge, then it traveled to the second ridge, and then it traveled to the third ridge. So it is the same water. That means in this circuit, whatever total electrons we have, the same electrons will be flowing through R1, R2, R3. So what I'm trying to say here is, for the entire series circuit, electric current is constant. Electric current never changes in a series circuit, but potential difference will be the addition of individual potential difference. Potential difference of the net circuit, this is the entire circuit, is the addition of individual potential differences. All right. So that's the analogy, and I wanted it to be simple, so we have this particular thing. Okay. Now, I hope this is clear to you. Now, once we actually do the derivation that's given in the textbook, always we need to pick among the two relations, guys, among the two relations, the addition relation, and this is a constant relation. It's always preferable to start with this such a relation where you have an equality, and you have a different expression on the right side and different expression on the left side. So we'll pick this particular expression, and with that expression, if you derive this is what we end up with. So for V, we have IR equivalent. So what is this R equivalent? If you imagine R1, R2, and R3 to be combined in some fashion, and the net is an R equivalent, that is what we are seeing. I into R equivalent is for this circuit, an equivalent circuit for the net series circuit. And wherever you have the formula, potential difference formula, we already know. V is equal to I into R, right? V is equal to I into R. For the first resistor, it's V1 and resistor R1. We already discussed this. Current is the same throughout. That's why V1 is actually equal to I into R1. V2 is equal to I into R2 because same current is flowing, that is equal to I, and I into R3. Okay. So that's the reason we have, when we cancel off I, we end up with this particular definition where R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 for a series circuit. Now, when we do this experiment, we need to prove three things. One is we need to prove that whatever analogy that we had, that's correct or not, or in one sense, is V really equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3? We need to prove this one first. Once we do that, we also need to prove that I is constant. I is constant throughout the electric circuit. That is what we need to prove. And finally, we need to prove R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Okay. So the way we are going to prove this last statement is, we already know the formula for R equivalent. R equivalent is nothing but V by I, right? R equivalent is called V by I, and R1 is nothing but V1 by I, R2 is V2 by I, and so on and so forth. So whatever relation that you have on the right side, the values, if you equate with the relation on the left side, then we can prove that R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. We are just modifying this final equation, guys. R equation we are putting back in terms of V and I. When you do that, it's much more easier because our input values, whatever we find out, will be V and I values. With that, we can actually find this out. Okay, so before we start with today's experiment, I want to check out any questions. Yes, I have a request to open the meeting. I'll do that. So once someone needs to enter, it seems, I will do that. But if I open it, we might have our intruder again, right? So who is going to join?
Sir, Lalita Vaishnavi want to join, sir.
All right, all right. So did she join? Lalita Vaishnavi, did you join? Please respond. Okay, in the meanwhile, please check it out. We are going to use this particular board. Please check this out. Okay, we are going to use this particular board for series parallel, where the top line can be understood as R1. This is the resistance R, but we'll also add all these nuts and bolts, this particular crocodile clip that we have. Everything together we can talk as R1. The bottom one, the middle one is R2, and the bottom one is R3. And we have this positive and negatives. We can connect the battery at these locations. First, we need to make a circuit out of this, guys. Once we make a circuit out of this, everything becomes easy for us. Okay, and let's get back to our screen share. I want to talk about how to make this circuit. And is Lalita here? If not, we need to lock it. I don't want us to be disturbed during this activity. That's the reason. Let's do one thing, guys. We have around 8 minutes for this session to close. So let's discuss about parallel circuit also. We understood the entire series circuit. Now let's discuss about parallel circuit. Now in parallel circuit, maybe after the discussion, when we come back, we can directly do the entire activity. So I'm carrying this particular parallel circuit. All right. So here we are going to have another analogy. I mean, we are using a similar one, but a little bit of modification. So what you can see for understanding parallel circuit, check this out. Here, whatever the current is flowing through, it's dividing into three parts. Let's imagine you have like 100,000 electrons. Maybe 20,000 electrons are going to the top, 50,000 electrons to the center, and balance 30,000 electrons are going to the bottom. So here electric current is the one that is dividing. But what about potential difference? So that is the question that we need to pose. So in order to understand this, let's have an analogy. So I want you to I'm simplifying this particular thing to two parts, guys. Only two of these. Okay. Now, instead of R1, R2, R3, let's imagine only two, R1 and R2. You can imagine R3 by yourself later on. For 2D, since we can only use two-dimensional images in this particular screen, I'm using this particular mountain. But you can imagine a third face of the mountain, either in front of you or behind you. This mountain has a third face. If you think this one is the first face or the first side, this is the second side. Imagine a third side behind our screen or in front of a screen. Okay. So what we are trying to do here is, again, we have a lot of water. For once, we'll use water in blue color, guys. So let's use water as blue color. And now what I want you to imagine is, in parallel case, what's happening is only some portion of this water. Let's say there are 100 gallons of water. Among the, let's keep it our conventions, 100 liters of water, for example. Among that 100 liters, maybe 80 liters are flowing in this direction, 80 liters, and 20 liters are flowing in this direction. Okay. So since 80 liters are flowing in this direction, that is a large current, and we can call it I1. And only 20 liters are flowing in this direction. This is I2. And the total current we have is I. So clearly what we just proved with this simple analogy is the total current is equal to I1 plus I2. Okay. Similar relation as what we had. If you check out this relation, what we just discussed, I1 is equal to I2 plus I3. The reason we are having this analogy, the reason we are having this analogy because current has multiple paths to flow. Whatever current we have, it has multiple paths to flow. That's the reason our mountain is capable of flowing in multiple paths. In series circuit, if you remember, current has a single path to flow along these three resistors. So that's the reason we chose our mountain, and current is only, or water is able to flow in this particular path because current can flow in a single path. That's the reason we modified our analogy, guys. Now let's look at voltmeter, or potential difference, or the energy available. If you look into the first current, the entire potential difference it is exposed to, or the height difference it is exposed to, is V. And the same thing goes for the I2 also, guys. Even for I2, the second water flow, or the 20 liters of water flow, we are having the same height of the mountain. Whatever height we have on this side, the same height we have on this side also, guys. So since it's the same height, V is constant. That means the potential difference across the first resistor, the second resistor, and the third resistor, the energy available for all these is the same. Just like water, whatever water we have, it's flowing in either on the left side or the right side. It is the same mountain or same height difference. So that is the logic. So in this parallel case, we have potential difference, or the energy available is constant for all those resistors connected to a common point. Let me explain this last part. All the three resistors are connected to one common point on the left side and another common point on the right side. R1, R2, R3, all the three are connected to another common point on the right side. So that's the reason resistances are having common points. Whenever there is common points, they're subjected to same energy or same potential differences. Okay. So that's about parallel connection. And the way it is derived is very simple. We already know I is equal to V by R, where denominator is R equivalent. Whatever you're seeing in the left side is an equivalent circuit, a modified or a simplified circuit, where the effect of three resistors is simplified into a single resistor, which is R equivalent. So I is nothing but V by R equivalent. I1 is equal to V by R1, V by R2 for I2, and V by R3 for I3. Why are we not using V1, V2, V3? We just discussed about it, because energy available is the same for all the three resistors. All right. And when you solve the entire problem, this is what the final relation. And we will prove this using this relation. Whatever relation you are seeing over here, we'll be using this particular relation to prove the last one. Okay, when we do that in our Excel sheet, it will be clear to us. So we just have a minute and a half left out, or minute and 50 minutes. So in the meanwhile, I want to share our Excel sheet so that you can observe what we will be doing after doing this experiment. So this is our Excel sheet. So this is for series circuit, guys. So once we do the entire circuit, once we build the entire circuit, all we have to do is write down these values. Check this out. We need to write down V and I values for the main circuit. Then V1, I1, V2, I2, so on we have to fill. And once we have that, we can find the resistance. We already know resistance is nothing but V divided by I. So as soon as you put those formulas here, this Excel sheet has a very simple formula method. It calculates, and with those calculations, we can verify. All right. So let's close this. I will end this meeting right now. I'll immediately post the meeting to our sir, and then he will post it in your group. So I'm closing this meeting right now. Quickly get back to the meeting, guys.